Have you ever dieted before? Have you tried to start losing weight and realize that there is so much information out there, often conflicting? One person tells you to do one thing, another person tells you to do another, and you find yourself making all sorts of mistakes or things that lead you to either stop, give up, or get really frustrated and confused. You're not alone. Hi, I'm Lindsay, and here on the Plant Plan, I help folks eat well for health, longevity, muscle gain, and fat loss. And I have done this myself. I have lost over 80 pounds throughout my health journey, and I'm here to help people like you, like me, continue that or maintain the fat loss that they already have achieved. Everyone knows that you have to eat less and move more. It's actually quite simple. And the behaviors are quite simple, but it's sometimes harder to implement because of all this other stuff that we have going on in our lives, right? So I think that these 5 mistakes that people make when trying to lose weight are really important to think about before you start your fat loss journey. So let's talk about them. So here are 5 mistakes people make when trying to lose weight. And actually, the last one I don't hear enough people talking about, and I think that's probably the most important one. So if this interests you, stick around. Hopefully it can help you on your fat loss journey if you've just begun, if you're just thinking about it, or if you've already started a little bit. Some of these might even be familiar to you. The very first mistake people make is not starting at all, especially when you start feeling that, oh, yeah, I think I could stand to lose some weight, or I would like to, or doctor says, or whatever reason you have for starting to think about it. Once you get that, do something, right? It's better to start and then course correct while you're there, as opposed to not starting at all. There is something to be said about having excess adiposity for a long period of time in your life. The longer that period of time is, the more likely that you will develop some complication of being in a larger body, right? Even if you don't at the end achieve your goal, you have learned a lot more about yourself. You've learned a lot about, the food that you're eating. You've probably taken some thought about how you're feeling. And I think all of those things, regardless of, if goals are met, that is extremely important. And I encourage people to do that. The second mistake is getting on a starvation diet. Y'all, the detoxes, they have to stop. The detoxes must be stopped. Not just the detoxes, but like the cabbage soup type diets, the, completely raw fruitarian. I know, I'm gonna get eviscerated. That's fine. For most people, those things don't work, and there's a couple reasons why. One, eliminating entire macronutrients or food groups or anything like that is just, especially if there's no feeling behind it other than, oh, these foods are bad, and so I must eliminate them and be a good person by not eating them to lose weight. That idea, it's not the not eating this food that's the problem. It's the idea that that food is the issue, or food in general is the issue, or punishing yourself, like this self-flagellation that happens when people get on to these starvation diets. There's a rebound effect, right? You remove all the foods that you like to eat, and what happens? You start binging, right? You start binging on all of this stuff that you felt deprived of, and your diet actually becomes, a lot of times, from what I've seen, a lot of times it becomes worse than what you originally started with. Slow and steady wins the race. There is no need to get on diets that tell you that you're going to lose 15 pounds in a week or even 2 weeks. That's water. I'm so sorry. That's water. And the next day you're going to eat a pizza or Chinese food, or, whatever it is, right? And there's going to be a ton of sodium that's going to blow you up. There's going to be carbohydrates, and it's in the word carbohydrates. So a lot of water, right? You're going to have water that you retain from the sodium and the carbohydrates. And then you're going to think you've blown up and nothing worked and nothing will work, and you're a horrible person and you couldn't stick to the diet, so you can't follow through on your own goals, and now your confidence is low and nothing has happened. So there's no need to be on a detox, starvation type of diet. Another thing that I haven't mentioned with those starvation diets is, guess what? Foods bring you calories. What are calories? It's a fancy way of saying energy. So after a couple days, you get really tired. Brain fog, decision fatigue. You can't go through your own day. And if you have a sufficient amount of willpower, wonderful for you. But in this case, that might backfire because you're sticking it out. You have all this willpower. You're sticking it out until you have a messed up relationship with food. You probably don't have enough energy to exercise or lift weights or go through your normal daily life, right? Because you're so depleted of energy that, it's just a downward spiral. Do not do a starvation diet. Now, an addendum to that, I'm a plant-based person. I'm a vegan. And so there's many people who think that being a vegan is an elimination diet, is a diet of, removing a whole bunch of foods and stuff like that. If you look online, if you've been on the internet ever, you would have seen a lot of vegans who are vegan, especially for that reason. There are some people who fall into it because they have a poor relationship with food. It's a thing. I'm bringing that up here because I don't want, I know that I'm vegan, and there's a lot of people that might be getting into this channel because of, hey, she's vegan and she's trying to lose weight and she is trying to maintain muscle, So I feel a responsibility to say that veganism is not a fat loss diet. It can help you do that. Any diet can help you do that. It's about what you can maintain. It's about what you are, what you gravitate towards, right? If you feel that other sentient beings that share this planet with us deserve to live and don't deserve the pain that we inflict on them for 5 minutes of chew time, right? If you feel that with modern science, modern food science, and what you have access to, you can have just as good a life not eating and avoiding animal products entirely, then maybe veganism is for you. I think that's great. If you don't feel that way and you're just trying to, for whatever other reason, reduce the amount of animal products that are in your life, I love that for you too. You are part of the solution. You are not part of the problem. But all of that is to say that you do not have to be vegan to lose weight. And if that is your primary and sole reason for being vegan, I encourage you to sit down and examine that. I'd rather you stay vegan, and I can show you ways of maintaining that and living your best healthy life. That's the point of this channel. But for your own mental health, for your own ease in life, I invite you to examine that. Okay, that was pretty heavy. Let me return to my notes. Okay, so the third reason the third mistake that people do when trying to start a fat loss journey is they don't prepare. A couple of things you want to prepare is your mental state and your environment. I'll start with the environment because that's a little bit easier. You want to make sure that that you're inviting in foods into your home when you're grocery shopping for your fat loss journey. You want to make sure that you're including a lot of plants. You want to make sure that you're including a lot, and I'm talking about fruits and vegetables and mushrooms and things like that, right? You want to make sure that your kitchen is going to help you prepare these meals that you're going to make. You want to make sure that you have planned a day where, the kitchen is, if not clean, then free of clutter, right? You want to have a good environment, a positive environment to start doing the things you need to do. You want to make sure that, if there's stuff that encourages you to snack throughout the day, and it's not the type of snack that you can control how much you eat, or it's not the type of snack that you feel like it's health promoting or that it's helping your fat loss journey, if it's encouraging you to eat more outside of those snack times or multiply your snack times, maybe it might make sense to omit those. It may make sense to make sure that you include those in your diet, but that you maybe buy them in individually wrapped packages, although I don't think the environment likes that a lot. I need to bring that up. Maybe leave things out your house or put things out of sight, out of mind, right? The easier something healthy is to grab, the less likely you will grab something that you're not looking to eat at this time. Being on a fat loss journey doesn't necessitate completely eliminating foods. I mention that because it may make sense for a time to not engage with those foods, right? Like I said, especially if it's encouraging you to eat more, or it's out of your calorie budget, for example, to eat that, then it makes sense to reduce, or I'll use the word eliminate here, but you know what I mean. It may make sense to keep it out of your home and to have planned times to enjoy those meals, or planned checkpoints to enjoy those meals. Preparing your mental state, you want to make sure that you are approaching a goal, okay? You want to make sure that you're not avoiding something that you don't like about yourself. The reason why that's important to prepare yourself mentally to approach a goal rather than avoid things is that it makes the journey a little bit more smooth, a little bit easier. You are thinking about the positive things that you're reaching towards, as opposed to the things that are not giving you good feelings, right? And it also reinforces a lot of this negative body image, right? If you are trying to lose weight because you are trying to, because you don't like yourself, because you don't like the size that you are, you don't like this, you don't like that, you're fearful of this, you're fearful of that. That's a lot of negative body image. Every time you approach a habit or a task that is helping you on your fat loss journey, you're going to be encountering that thought as you're doing that behavior. You're going towards a goal of a positive body image. If there's something that you're approaching as opposed to avoiding, it's going to make it a little bit more simple and more pleasant, really. The fourth mistake people make when trying to lose weight is that they don't plan for setbacks. Every time you start a new habit or start approaching some new goal, especially for fat loss, folks start off really gung-ho, right? There's a lot of motivation at the onset to do the damn thing. And the first week or two might be smooth sailing. You've, meal prepped, you've, what you need to do, and you're excited to do it, and you can't wait for achieving those goals. Man, you're seeing yourself in the summer flexing on the gram, doing the thing. You already got your sundress, together, like it's on its way, and you can't wait. And then 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, you step on the scale and the number's not moving as much as it did last week, or it moved in some other direction, and you're not mindful of the fact that, well, I didn't go to the restroom today, or I did have that celebratory pizza last night. Or you may still be in the calorie range that's perfect for you to continue losing weight, but you might look a little puffy. That's not a big deal. That's you being a human after eating. So it's fine, but it might trip you out a little bit the first time that happens, right? So what do you do? How do you plan for times where your motivation has dipped? What do you do when you have a friend from out of town that didn't tell you they were coming, and boom, they're on week 3 of your diet? Maybe you do have a planned social occasion, a wedding that you have to go to or whatnot. Even being bored with the foods, right? That might be difficult for you. And there may be certain things you want to consider while planning, so that you don't find that as a setback. You don't decide to meal prep an entire week of lunches and then get to Wednesday and feel like this again, right? If that's you, great. You've learned that you would like more variety in your diet. The same lunch would work for some people, and that's not going to work for everyone, right? It's a very simple way of going about it, but it's not going to work for everyone. So if you learn that, that's great. Next week, we're approaching it a little bit different. We're going to have 2 options for lunch, or 2 proteins that we can choose between, and then the rest of the meal is the same, etc., etc. And here is the most important one. And if you've previously been on a fat loss journey, you have definitely made this mistake. That 5th mistake that most people make, that I think all people make when trying to lose weight, is they don't plan for after the diet. I really think it's damn near everyone that has fallen into this, unless if you had the foresight to realize, hey, this is going to be a huge undertaking for me, I'm going to hire a coach. They would tell you that you need to plan just as much for after the diet that you do when you're doing the diet or before the diet. When you're deciding to lose weight, and you have created a plan to do that or to get you started, what you want to do is plan an end, right? And that can be either an end date or an end to your first initial effort, making sure that you have an end date so that it's not this endless cycle. And then give yourself at least a couple weeks after that to maintain that weight loss. That means you are still planning out your meals. That means you are still planning out your activity. That means you are still maybe measuring, right? You might want to step on a scale once or twice a week, or you might want to put on that pair of jeans to see, hey, are we regressing, progressing? Are we still losing weight? Because that might be a problem, right? You want to practice maintaining that weight that you're at. That's still a big struggle for me, right? I tend to fluctuate up and down a little bit. I mean, obviously, you're human and you're not going to have one weight that you're steady at, right? So fluctuations here and there is absolutely fine. But if you fluctuate, 5'10" and then, up and down a little bit, it might make sense to think about, okay, is there some fine tuning that needs to happen with how I am maintaining my weight here, right? Preparing for an end date, preparing for how you're going to maintain the weight loss that you've had, and maybe preparing for how long that maintenance period is, right? Because again, if you have 80 pounds to lose like I did, and that's not going to happen at one time, you want to get to that goal eventually, right? So you don't want to do the first phase, maintain, and just kind of sit there. That's better than sitting at your original. But if you have that goal, I encourage you to keep going, right? Maintain for a little while. When you're comfortable, when you're ready, when you are mentally able to say, I'm ready to go again, do the same thing. Plan the length of your next phase. It might be a little bit less time. It might be the same amount of time that you did before. Keep going, then maintain, right? This, I think, is the healthiest way mentally and physically, right? Your body gets used to being at a new size. Let's get ourselves right. Let's not do these 5 mistakes any longer. Let's plan, right? Well, first of all, let's get started. Right? Because these are things that you learn along the way. I did. I've now told you some of these things so that you can avoid them. So get started. Get started somewhere. learn along the way, right? So get started. Don't fall into the trap of a starvation diet, right? If a diet is calling to you, ask yourself why. Ask yourself, is this something that I'm able to sustain? Does this make sense? Because all macros matter, right? Is this eliminating entire food groups or entire macronutrients, right? Is this going to support my activity that I need to do throughout the day? Or is this going to make me really tired and hate life for a while and fall off this wagon, right? So make sure that you're not on a detox starvation diet type of thing. Make sure that you prepare your environment and your mental strength, your mental mood, right? Make sure that you prepare. Plan for setbacks, right? You want to make sure that when those setbacks come up, that you have a plan to be like, cool, we're making progress. Even if we're not making progress during this setback, we're not going back. Or I guess it wouldn't be a setback. The fifth most important mistake to not make when you're trying to lose weight is not preparing to end the diet, not preparing when that time is that you're going to finish for that phase and what the next phase is, which is maintenance, because you want to stay at this weight that you've achieved, right? You want to stay at this body composition in order to either improve or just, keep yourself here for the time being. So I hope this helped you out. I hope this gave you some ideas of how to course correct where you're at if you are on a fat loss journey. And let me know. Let me know if you've done any of these mistakes. I already know you've done 5. I already know. So if you have never had that issue and you've tried to lose weight in the past, please let me know how you avoided, especially that one, right? But if you've done any of the other 4, let me know. Tell us your experience with those, right? Have you kind of fallen into the detox trap, the water fast, or the, there's so many, like the juice cleanses and the, kidney I saw another one. I was like, kidney detox. I'm like, your kidney is way smarter than you, bro. Like, it can do that. Don't worry about it. Are you dead? No, you're alive. Okay, so your kidney is doing something. Cool. Like, what? Don't fall into these crazy traps. All right. If you need any other help, you just let me know. Put your ideas in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe and share this with someone who you feel might benefit from this information. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.